Hello everyone. Today's the 2-week mark for our teasers. So today we got something kind of special for you. We're doing a frequently asked questions video today with me, Kevin, or Shika on Discord, community manager, and with Richard.
Hey, most of you should know me anyway, also known as Scavenger on Discord. I look after the programming section. We were hoping to have Osville here today with us. This is going to be very relaxed, just talk through the things that we keep seeing come back up. But unfortunately he's not here, so we'll have to work around the questions there anyway. We know the answers, so it's alright. Okay, and we'll have something nice for you at the end, so just something small. We're not going to do too much because we've got the whole State of the Game video coming up in 2 weeks' time. And that's going to be our next big show off. So we'll leave any major teasers till then. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's start with it. Many questions after the State of the Game came up regarding the map, and one of the big questions is the size of a map. So how big will it be? Will it be smaller than Legacy? Will it be like Legacy? Is it monolith size? So where are we at?
Yeah, this is where we were hoping that Osville would be here, but we kind of know where we are anyway. So the map is a little bit smaller than Legacy, and it's a bit bigger than Monolith, somewhere in between. The problem is, I think we all felt that Monolith was obviously too small, and everyone likes the way that Legacy was, so we tried to make something in between, and we're still testing with that. So we're still working on some of those rotation times. With things like Monolith, the rotation times were far too short, and there wasn't really any punishment then for rotating in and out, because you could get there and back really quickly. So we're looking at extending those times, but not too far. So we're still testing with those, but things might change slightly. I think we're pretty comfortable on where we are. Then there's one or two little things we're not too keen on at the moment, just that need tweaking, but we have plans on how we can work around those. So you're going to see more of that as we start releasing more videos of the map.
Yeah, so we're definitely trying to hit the sweet spot there.
Yeah.
But with that question, there were some concerns, especially regarding two things on the lane we've shown. One of them being the towers. So some people had the concern that the space where towers are at are a little bit narrow and claustrophobic.
One of those things, you've got to remember this is early access, not even early access, it's still in development, so we're going to be making changes, and a lot of these things are going to come out in play testing. The same thing goes for people mentioning the prime boss being very big. We can scale things in the engine. But as far as claustrophobic areas, mainly especially around what we showed in State of the Game for the towers, the off-lane buff, we're not really showing an awful lot of how much verticality we are now put into those areas and how much we're changing those. And if they do turn out to be claustrophobic in the end, we have options to open them up. I think at the minute it's something like there's one entrance and 3 exits, roughly, based on because of the verticality of the area. So yeah, we're open to changing it if we do find that there's problems later on down the road. But don't be too concerned about how it looks in the initial videos, because it's going to change. But do give us that feedback though, because we need to know it, and we're going to make sure we're all happy about it. I think that actually answered the next question down as well. But,
because many people had concerns about the structure in the middle of the lane. There probably a buff will be. So because many people just saw the front and there was only that one entrance, but I already spoke to some people and sent them pictures of other angles of that. So it's not one in, one out. It's if you're in there, you have several options to get out there again, because some areas are elevated. So you can jump back on the lane over the wall again. But yeah, that's like the towers. It's something that needs to be tweaked, and we will look into it.
Yeah, there's some talk about adding some sort of pads as well. I don't think we've got jump pads strictly in the design at the moment, but there's talk about using them to make best use of certain vertical areas as well. So I can't see why those kind of things won't come in a bit later on down the line either. But,
Yeah, these were the main questions or main concerns with the map. So we'll go on with some other stuff. One big topic is our consoles, or PS4 especially. So what are the plans there?
Well, we've always said we wanted to do consoles. Loads of us came from consoles in the first place. Myself being PC, but my mate, for example, is PlayStation 4. It gives us the opportunity to actually play something together, which is rather unusual. So that's it's a real pity that's gone. But lots of the team are PlayStation players, and a lot of the community was PlayStation players, and it's more than just PlayStation we're looking at. We want to do consoles as a whole, on other platforms as a whole, Mac, Linux, that kind of stuff. It's just going to take time. We need to test it. What we can't do at the moment is we can't test PlayStation because we haven't got things like Sony and Xbox licenses in. It's going to take us some time to agree and get that kind of sorted out. But aside from that, you've got all the legal aspects of being an entity in a company before we can actually go down that route anyway. What we have managed to do is make sure that our code compiles cross-platform to a certain extent. We've got pipeline builds working and tested for both Linux and Mac. We can't guarantee we're going to bring them to those platforms yet. Long way off testing. But as a proof of concept, it's a great opportunity to prove that our code is able to run on more than one platform as it stands right now. So yeah, hopefully we'll do something. It's just going to take time. But PC's our initial release.
Yeah. So yeah, with that answered, we go over to the next thing. That would be matchmaking. That was one big concern of Paragon players because matchmaking wasn't really working in that game. So how are we going to tackle it?
Yeah, well, we're building up our own yellow system as well, and we're going to put our own matchmaking and connection finding software. So we're working on that right now. We have a back-end protocol and a system that's going to be doing a lot of that work for us. That work has started now. We've got initial tests working. Right now you can find a match and you can join it. We can trigger off automatic instances and things. So we can scale servers based on demand, that kind of thing. And then how we actually handle that yellow and how we matchmake people together, that'll be a different kettle of fish. But what we're going to be doing is something a little bit different to what Paragon did. Paragon was very client-side based. It was sort of broadcaster. Hey, I'm looking for a game. Please let me join. This way, we're going to actually try and properly matchmake people in a more traditional sense of multiplayer games. So we'll hopefully avoid those issues. Might be worth talking about crossplay there, though, because we're not sure how we're going to handle the cross-platform play. Especially with certain limitations within licensing. For example, I think Xbox and PlayStation aren't allowed to play together if you go for licenses, that kind of stuff. So we're probably going to have to work out ways that we can actually separate certain either game modes or players in that matchmaking as well. So yeah, we're working on all that. It's going to be coming. We have some people on board who do know a bit about those areas, so it's going to be heavily reliant on their expertise to give us that input at the moment.
Yeah, and people's expertise is a good word for the next topic, because many people have concern about our staff composition and team size. So many people think we're just some hobby Paragon players who don't know how to do stuff. And yeah, can you maybe have a few words about that?
Yeah, well, we've got quite a large team now. It's around about 70 people. Most people think we're about 10 or 5 or something. We're a lot bigger than people realise. And that's split up into multiple teams. So you've got community management, which is Shikar here, programming and back-end systems, which is myself and team. We've got art. What else we've got? Well, art, of course, covers concept art, animation, rigging, visual effects, all that kind of thing. Sound is sound effects, voiceovers, voice actors, music, mechanics, and then of course they're doing all the maths and everything else behind that. Game master design. There's a ton of areas, and inside of each of these teams we've got now a proper enterprise structure. So we've got people who are running as team leaders, people who are running then as the final say on things. So although it is based around a democratic model and using community input to drive it, it's really created around sort of a standard business sort of platform, so that we don't end up wasting a lot of time arguing over single points, that kind of thing, and that each team has authority of their own work. Inside those teams again, then we've got lots of professionals who work in various, some of them in game industry, some of them in large enterprises that you all well know. And we're going to give everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves a lot better when the website's ready, but that's not quite there yet. I think that just about covers everything about our structure, really. Have I missed anything?
I think that pretty much covers everything.
Yeah, so we've got a lot more professional experience than people realise, and it's coming together really well, I think.
Yeah. Good. Coming from that, next thing is the business model and inner workings. Like I already said, many people think we're just a group of random Paragon players and all over the world. So that can have some problems with it because we're everywhere, so to say. How are we holding that together? How is it going in the future?
Oh, yeah, we definitely have some teething problems because of that, especially with just communication levels and Discord and things like that. But yeah, the biggest side of this for me, I think, is the legal aspect. We've got lawyers and solicitors and people and accountants involved, but because we're so geographically diverse, we've got to find somewhere to start up a business that is covers us legally, doesn't tax us to hell as a result of it all, and make sure that we can actually build this properly. So we're working heavily on that. I think there's pretty much 2 or 3 of us that have been on this. You working on the legal side since we started in around about sometime in February, and it's one of those things that's slowly coming together. And as soon as we know where we're actually going to go and what we're actually going to do with it, we'll definitely be letting everyone know. But we're not quite there yet. But this is one of the big challenges behind why we can't take backing money yet. Why we're limited to not being able to get licenses for certain things. We can't apply for certain grants yet. That we're having to be very careful about how we do banking, so they don't make ourselves vulnerable to, either fraud or people running off with money, that kind of thing. So we're being careful about all that right now. So when we get that properly done, then we'll be a lot more comfortable in how we're moving forwards.
I can't hear you right now. I'm having problems.
Your sound's gone.
Okay, now it's working again.
It's
okay.
Back? Alright, cool. That's right. Oh, at least it was short-lived.
Okay, good. Where were we at? The last few sentences cut off for me.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if we finish that off, I think we should talk about really how we deal with the community a little bit. Like we're talking about workings and business model, because we are trying to bring in everything that people are suggesting. I think we've got the master's spreadsheets and like 300 odd heroes designs, but they'll all be looked at, and some of those are going to be brought in house and used in the game. So the lucky few may actually find that their inspired initial designs may show up. Who knows? But a lot of things get changed through our internal flow to make sure they're balanced and work. Oh, there's a dog. Wait.
Are you wearing socks on your hands?
I am wearing socks on my hands. No, it's an ode to Paragon. Seeing as it died yesterday, and we all love Cam, and yeah.
Oh.
You've got to have a sense of humour. You've got to have a sense of humour. So yeah, we bring things in from the public, so make sure you talk to us on Discord and Reddit and things, because that information does find its way into the internal Discord every day. And we talk about it and review it and change our plans and add things to the game that we hadn't thought of. So it's great.
Yeah, many people fear that we are very unstructured and very unstable, so everything could break every time. So I think we were very unstructured and unstable at the beginning, but we sorted things out.
Well, the difficulty there was we came together and no one really knew what roles they were doing, how is this going to work, how are we going to set up the game, how are we going to get people doing certain jobs. And yes, it was unstructured. Right now it's become a lot more comfortable. I don't think we've had much drama in the last, long time now. It's nice.
Yeah.
It just seems to flow, people are getting on with their work. Everyone seems to know where they fit in and what they're doing. Yeah, I don't think we have as much internal working issues anymore as we once did. And no, it's definitely
we had a rough start.
Yeah, which every startup company does, but we seem to try and hit the ground running, and that was a challenge in its own right.
All right. So coming to the next point, which would be money and backing, because really we nearly get asked on a daily basis if we have a Kickstarter, if we have a Patreon or something like that, and we really appreciate that people want to support us this badly. So but there's stuff we have to sort out first, which Rich mentioned before a bit, but I don't know, can you elaborate a bit on that?
Well, when we first started off, we didn't want to take any money until we had something to prove what we were doing. Turn around saying, okay, we're going to kickstart from day one with no real proof of anything, and people are going to be obviously cautious about that because there's no evidence to show that we can do what we say we can do. But on top of that, then is what we didn't want to fail and take people's money as a result of it. So now we're in a lot more comfortable position. We do want to do something, at least sometime in the future, but we do need to get that few legal issues sorted out first. But that's only going to be a matter of time. But any money we do earn right now is going back into the project. We have a bit of an internal fund that pays for things like our source control, our server management. We've got an enterprise system for managing file systems now, permissions and security. We're looking at secure payment gateways and things, and this all costs money. So we're using internal funds at the moment for that. But we're going to need a bit more, and yes, we will be doing something. At the moment, anything that comes in from, say, YouTube advertising or Twitch donations, all that's being funneled back into the game and back into the project. So if you do want to support us, then there are small avenues to do that, but we can't do a big drive, and that's the amount of money is going to cause us problems in the long run. So soon. Just bear with us and we'll do it.
All right, so the next point would be a concern or something that many players think of Paragon, and that was that it really lacked advertising. Epic didn't good on that. The only advertising I saw on about Paragon was on a image site with just a small image telling me, "Hey, play Paragon." That's the only thing I ever saw about that. So many people are asking how we will do it in the future. But as of right now, we only have our social media, our YouTube, our Twitter, we have Facebook, Reddit, and obviously our Discord with our wonderful community. But in the future, when we have the funds, when we have the money for that, we plan to do some proper advertising for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Again, that comes down to how much funds we have as well, how far we can go. But I think Golden's looking at putting a market research team together. We have a couple of guys that are on the internal staff. I've got to take this off, by the way. I don't know how Cam sat there for an hour. Really hot. So we've got a couple of guys on the internal staff that have marketing qualifications as well, so they know kind of what they're doing. So that's going to help an awful lot. It's going to have funds, I think, isn't it, really? But we want to do something. We're not just going to do just word of mouth. But we haven't got the same constraints as Epic did either. I mean, Epic needed... I'm going to have to stop saying or this video's going to be awful. Epic were reliant on having to respond to boards of directors, make a certain amount of profit and that kind of thing, or say, yes, we want to spend money on advertising, and at the end of the day there's someone above them saying, no, you can and cannot do this. We've got the luxury that we can make those decisions ourselves and not have publishers or upper management dictating to us. So if something is a good idea to the community and a good idea to us, because we're all on the same page pretty much, we're going to do it, and we're going to make sure we do it right. Yeah, we'll definitely be improving things on that front. But we need a game to play first, so that's kind of a bit further down the line.
Okay, but with the advertising, hand in hand goes the size of the user base, at least a bit. So there are concerns about that, how we are trying to hold our user base, how we try to motivate them to stay and stuff like that.
More the better.
Do we have any plans on that?
Sorry. Yeah, I actually went and read up our documents earlier because I was a little bit behind on what we were planning on doing with these things. But yes, more the better. And as we said, if we don't have to reply to anybody else, if our user base isn't as big as we really hope, it's not necessarily going to be a huge issue. We are going to need funds to keep it going. There are server costs and running costs, and at some point we'd love to be able to, pay people for doing all this work on the game. But worst case scenario, we're going to do from a programmatic sense is create something that creates a dynamic back end where our network code can be disconnected. So it's unlike Paragon now, where the servers are down, that's it, you can't play it ever again. We'll be able to release it on a more, you can host your own dedicated servers or play LAN or something along those lines. So at least if it all doesn't quite work, we'll have something we can do. So I think that's going to help an awful lot. Oh, I think that gets us into competitive a bit now as well. I think that's the next question. Rather than, because competitive is something we definitely want to do. but we were a little bit concerned, and there's a lot of concern over, well, does that mean splitting the user base? And again, we can make that call ourselves. If we feel that competitive is healthy for the game, which we do, we can put that in as soon as we're ready for it and not really worry about splitting the user base. This is a game for us, it's a game for you guys. It's not a game for making money. As it has to make some money because it needs to be able to cover itself. But yeah, we want to do competitive. We want this to be big. We want this to be great, and we want it to be esport level potential. And that's our goal. That's what we're aiming for. So aim big and hopefully get there.
Yeah, wonderful. With the competitiveness of a game, there always rises toxicity. So there are several questions how we're trying to tackle that. So one of the things is that the mechanics team is already working on some internal or gameplay systems that may reduce toxicity. We're looking into that. So additionally to that, you can't prevent toxicity at all levels. There will always be some, but yeah, we try to tackle it. We don't tolerate it. So we don't have worked out what the penalties for toxicity or all this stuff is, but we definitely will go against it.
Yeah, we're going to do something. There'll be definitely a reporting system, and we're going to make sure we action those kind of reports, but it's just difficult. How do you really handle everything, and what do you do with people who are caught for toxicity? Do you go for outright bans, or do we do something like a queue that is more for people who keep getting reported? There's lots of options the way around it. I think one of the really funny ones I like that someone was talking about in the chat, it might have been Amiga, was having voiceover lines. It's like, maybe I should stop feeding, maybe I should stop, that kind of stuff. So I'm being too aggressive, I keep dying, and that kind of thing, to try and push people into learning a bit more as well. But I don't know what to do. But it'll be interesting to see what we do come out with. But mechanics are on it.
Yeah, nice. After that, we have the master designs on our list. So what are the current plans? How many do we have? How many will we have at release? Or yeah, what are the plans on that?
Well, at the minute we're working on our first 5. Got to start somewhere. And the idea behind the first 5 is that we will have the ability to run a mirror match, so we can at least just test that mechanics work, that balance systems work, programming code work, whatever we want. So first 5 are the initial plan. So that's going to be internal testing only. Second plan is to get up to 15. That 15 will be for a closed alpha test, which will be internal and with a few specific invites. People who have maybe been involved in the Paragon competitive community or other competitive players who are able to give decent, or rather educated feedback into how that currently feels and works out. And then the goal from there is to push up towards 25 and above, which will bring us into then more closed alpha, closed beta, and into final proper early access, I guess, before we go into release. As for how many in total, I mean, the sky's the limit. It depends on how long we decide to develop for, and I don't see us stopping if we can help it. So, yeah. I think I was reading through the... Sorry. I was reading through the plans at the minute. I think there is some plans for... what do you call it? What did Paragon call those early access packs yet? Founders packs. I think there is some sort of plan for Founders Packs, but again, it's all early discussions, so things might change. But and yeah, when we know more, so we'll do. It's coming soon.
Yeah. Okay. With the masters and their abilities, we had regarding your tech video on our State of the Game, the ability framework, because many people were asking, because you mentioned we're building our own ability framework, and many people were asking why we're doing that, because Unreal Engine has already one implemented, which we could use, but I think we have reasons for building our own.
Yeah, I didn't want to go into too much detail on the tech video. I mean, it was long enough as it was, and most people aren't really interested in all the back-end things that go on, not in that level of detail. I mean, if you are, come on Discord, there's a tech channel. Drop in and ask questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. Obviously, you can't share source code, but we can definitely give you reasons behind what we're doing, why we're doing it, and hopefully how things will actually work out in the long run. The The reason we didn't go for the ability framework from Epic Games was it's really badly documented, or rather, just doesn't actually have any documentation at all. So we'd have to go through it all ourselves, learn it all, and if there's a problem, we then need to work out how do we debug that. By writing our own, we get around that issue because we'll know exactly the ins and outs of all those parts of it. And we can make it do things that we want the way we want them to do as well, which, again, we'd have to do a bit of recoding on the original. So as we had the skills in-house, it kind of made sense just to write our own. It took us probably just as long maybe to write our own as it would have been to completely learn the Unreal one. But we've got now more freedom over it, we've got more documentation, we're able to onboard other programmers onto it without having as many issues. So there's lots of nice things about it we can do. So yeah, that's quite good. It was a bit of an issue. It gave us a bit of a headache. We were hoping to get it in for last state of the game, and I was getting to the point where I was worried that we weren't getting it in for next state of the game due to certain technical problems. But I think we got them resolved this morning. So
cool.
With any luck, we're absolutely on board for that. Now, I don't know that 100% what that means for it yet. We need to get some visual effects and other bits and pieces, but I would love to see if we can get a kit done in a bit of time. But, you know, I don't know how long that's going to take us to do. So.
Okay. So, still on the masters of the gameplay balancing issues, how are we going to tackle balancing? Are we going top down, bottom up? How are we balancing?
Oh yeah, well we have got high-ranked Paragon players on board, and people who play lots of different MOBAs as well, not just Paragon, and they come from all different walks of life, so that's quite interesting. And have played competitive, they're yellow cap, all sorts of things. So that's helping us an awful lot in coming up with balanced kits and balanced figures from the start, especially as we've got a couple of really strong mathematicians on board, so they can understand, you know, how things relate to one another and knock-on effect. But from a programming perspective, we're building a framework in the background to handle all the balancing for us. I say handle all for us, that's probably bad wording. Centralize the balancing figures, so we're able to tweak things quicker, more accurately, and push out the updates more effectively to both the client side and the server side. And have almost like an auto rotation system. Now there's some limitations on how we want to do this. The current plan is to make it so that we can dynamically change some of the gameplay if we ever run into there's a major issue. So we can change it server side and it'll automatically make changes to people who are playing the game. It won't affect your existing game, it'll take effect next game. But it gives us that ability to do it, and we need to make sure that we don't accidentally tread on HOs with our whole console plan when we do that. So if that comes off, it'd be great. If not, we might find ourselves into a little backtrack a little bit. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we've definitely got all that balancing in mind, and we're hoping to do that on a big scale. So.
I think that's good to hear. Okay, good. We got that. Next point would be a public API. Many people really like using agora.gg or other sites similar to that to see their stats, see their match history and stuff. Are we planning to have a public API as well?
Yeah, well, we've got our own private API right now. That's currently pretty much being built into our matchmaking service, our instance startup and all that kind of thing. Public API is definitely on the cards, and it's definitely part of the plan. It's going to be a little bit different to what you experienced though with Paragon, because Paragon's was a little bit more limited in respect they didn't show every figure available. So things like agora.gg had to extrapolate that information and come up with an ELO that worked. We're hoping just to give you our own internal ELO figures as well. So if people want to build fan sites and things like that, we're quite happy for them to do so. I think there's several of us on board the team who think that Agora in some respects was a detriment to Paragon, because it didn't really give anyone a proper way of tracking in game, and you had casuals mixed up with then people who are trying to play competitively all inside a quick match. We want to make sure we get that disparity right from the get-go, so we're not causing ourselves any harm or toxicity in doing in the way we create the game. So we're going to hopefully have that available to sites to run things, but we're going to give you that information too. Our site's hopefully going to have all those statistics, so if anyone wants to embellish on them and go further and show it in a different way, fine. But you can also just come straight to us or go into our game, and hopefully you can get that from there as well. Public APIs do take quite a lot of programming, so it's on the cards, it is planned, but how long that'll take, we're not 100% sure on. Yeah. It'll probably be a bit further down the road yet before we get there.
Okay, so with that we got the main points out of the way now. at least most of the questions. We have some general questions left now, which are frequently asked as well. So one of them being, when is the game going to be released?
Well, you have to remember we're all volunteering on this. We have families, we have full-time jobs, we have all sorts of things, and the number of hours people are putting in here is crazy. We don't want to stop people burning out either, or not putting too much pressure on people. So it's very difficult from a project planning perspective on how long does it take to successfully do something. So we can't give you a date. We don't know. We'll work as quick as we can and effectively as we can, but there's going to be delays and things come up, and we'll do our best to get it to you because we want to play as much as you do. But,
yeah.
You know, I think if we try and give people dates, we're just going to harm ourselves.
Yeah, we're trying to not even set deadlines for ourselves, because we don't want to put ourselves under pressure or even release any unfinished product or elements. So we take our time for that.
Yeah, and although we're getting things like these, multiple streams a week now, which is really quite cool, and you get to see our sort of development in process. It's a lot of people are saying about the teasers every 2 weeks and state of the game every 6 weeks seems to be a lot of pressure. But the thing to remember is that these state of the games and teasers are only going to be what we have available at the time that we can safely share, that's in a decent enough position to put out there. So I think we've just got to be open and honest enough to say, well, yeah, we can't give you a deadline, and for some reason, if we haven't got an awful lot to show, it's just going to have to be something little.
Yeah. Okay, before the release, there are questions if there will be an alpha or will there be a beta for the public. So we can't tell right now when all this will be. It's exactly like it's the same thing with the game release. So we want to do a public alpha or a beta, definitely.
Yeah, I think beta is the plan, I think.
Yeah, but we're not going the way Epic Games went with Paragon and having 2 years of beta. And yeah, we want to be a little bit more further in development regarding that, and also it won't be this long for the public to be accessed. It will probably some weeks, and then it will be closed again, and we will develop. Maybe there will another beta phase or something like that. But yeah, there are definitely plans for public betas.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, once we get to the point where we've actually got something that's playable, we can start making those calls of how much can we do, how much can we bring people on. And until we've got a monetization system, that's going to be a big one, because we just can't afford to run. We can't afford to run servers without some way of making cash off it. So yeah, it's going to happen, but we don't know when. But yeah, you're going to get something. It'll definitely come. We definitely want to open this game up as soon as we can. We want to be able to play it as well. We want to play with you guys, and yeah, want it to pay for itself. Otherwise we would be doing this.
Yeah, everything work in progress. So everything can change, and yeah, one big question is also what will the system requirements will be.
Oh yeah, well, very hard to predict technically, because well, you never know. We're aiming to be quite low on the actual minimum requirements, so we're hoping that even people with wind-up computers like Third Marshal should be able to come and join us. It'd be fine. But on the other side of that, we want to be able to tax those high-end machines as well, and make sure that you're really gonna you're not going to be wasting machine power. If you've got something that can run it, we're gonna give you a run for your money. So we will be aiming for high-level graphics. I mean, Paragon's kind of our base level at the moment for where we like to achieve on graphical level, but where we can beat it, we will do. And Paragon had some lovely technical limitations with performance-wise, primarily because Epic Games wanted to demo Paragon as what can Unreal Engine do at the time of creation, which was quite a few iterations ago. But not only that, they wanted to prove what Blueprints could do, so they did everything in Blueprints. Blueprints are great, they are really powerful, and you can do lots of things with them. They're not always the most efficient. And if we can do certain things in C++ as well, and we can have a bit of a hybrid between the two, we can make certain savings. And one of the really, really cool things we do have at the moment is we've got some really high-level textures coming through at the moment. Yeah, well, that's a bit of a teaser for another time, but The important bit is automatic LODs, which are really cool. So levels of detail, so they change depending on your computer spec, and they change based on your distance from them, that kind of thing. So we can make low poly things further away, and yeah, that's all in and working nicely. So yeah, it's very exciting, and it's all coming together. Hopefully we'll have something to show you very soon.
Okay, so we're coming to our last question, which is, will there be VO, voiceovers?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what this question was entitled to, because a few people have been asking things about voice and sound, and I don't know whether it's always voiceovers from a hero perspective, or are we talking about voice chat, or other audio things. So we can probably touch on all of that while we're at it. Like I said, because we're not doing everything in Blueprints, we're not using only Unreal Engine, we do have the option to use certain pieces of middleware, so we can use things like Fmod for sound. Okay, I won't go into an awful lot of technical detail on it, but you can go look it up if you're interested. But essentially what it lets us do is it lets us dynamically trigger sounds in-game depending on when they happen. So you'd know if two heroes can have voice lines available to them when they meet up in mid-lane and they can, say, throw insults or something at each other. Or you walk into a team fight and it knows a team fight's coming, so you can trigger different music. Same thing goes when it comes to towers. You enter a tower, you can hear different sounds. That's all there. And I think we did a bit of investigating into voice chat. Other systems seem to be able to do it, and they seem to be able to do it cross-platform, so there's definitely options on how to do it. We haven't really gone into detail on exactly how, or whether or not we're definitely going to include it, but technical possibly. If it's technically possible, I can't see why we wouldn't. It just seems to be one of those standard common things of games these days. The fact that Paragon had it seems to be a step behind on that one. So yeah,
okay.
I think we're all keen to have decent sound, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for today.
Yeah, not far off. I've got one last thing we can show off as well.
One last thing. Okay.
Yeah, and we've got a load, and obviously these are all the questions we had thrown over the last month. It seems to show up a lot on Reddit, YouTube, Discord. So if you've got any more, throw them at us and we'll do another one at some point and try and answer everyone. But at least this gets round everyone and gives you proper final answers, hopefully, to everything we can do. Yeah, but before we leave, we do have this. So we wanted to leave you with something little. I said, state of the game's in 2 weeks' time. We don't want to go into too much detail. A lot of people who've been tracking the project should have seen Aurelia and her progression from modelling all the way through texturing, and now we're starting to get into the animation phase and rigging. So I think a lot of people were laughing at our rig where her eyeballs fell out of her head when she collapsed. But now we've got cloth physics working, which is really, really nice. But yeah, it's early days and just something small, but it's all coming very soon. It's all making progress. It's nice.
Yeah. Looks really good in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just a good. I like that. So, and now we've got it down on how we do it on one hero. It should be a lot better for how we do the others. The biggest challenge I think on a lot of it is not just making sure it works right, but making sure it's not too heavy on the system resources as well. Because once you get all that in the game together, it'll end up causing performance problems if we don't optimize everything as we go. So we're trying to get that bit of polish going as we go along, instead of trying to do it all at the end. It'd be nice.
Okay, wonderful. Well then, yeah, guys, thanks for listening to us for this long FAQ. So yeah, thanks for standing by, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're not 100% sure exactly on how we should probably format community corners, especially with everyone being remote. So give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Hit the like button. Let us know. Let us know you appreciate the video or not. And if we get a good response, we'll do more and come back to you. If you all hate it, well, we'll do something else. I don't know. Right. Thank you very much.